wrong with Reverend Dawson? Just passed me on the stairs and barely acknowledged me. He was white as a sheet, angry as a... What's wrong? You're crying.
It's the story of my life. Reverend Dawson and I had a rumble.
Well, from the looks of things and the sound of it, seems more like a revolution.
The modern age, youth against the good old establishment.
Except that Reverend Dawson isn't that old. And in reality, you're not that rebellious.
My mother will cut out your tongue.
Holly, may I offer you a piece of advice?
Now, you've joined the Help Holly Club.
Help, yes. Not hurt. Keto, could you find Reverend Dawson for me, please?
You calling a revival meeting, Doctor? I warn you, the Reverend's tune is always out of key.
So you have an ear for music, have you?
Oh, I've had it up to here with soap suds and sympathy.
Holly, if you would just really listen instead of just hearing, you know, you might benefit.
I better cool it if the Reverend's coming.
Run, run, run. Is that your solution? You can talk to me. I'll listen.
Well, what it boils down to is me, my mother, and money. With Matt Dawson as the middleman.
I couldn't help hearing that, Holly. You know that an inheritance is a family matter, and that excludes me, understand?
And I exclude you. You understand?
She has her problems, doesn't she, Reverend?
This house abounds with them, Doctor.
Oh, I know. You're here for the service, aren't you?
Mrs. Desmond, yes. If I decide to stay and perform it.
You really think you have a choice?
Well, that decision is mine. To me, a woman whose heart stopped beating a matter of minutes before she was frozen is still quite dead.
But not to Jean-Paul, Reverend. He thinks that Erica is still alive.
By all religious concepts, the soul has fled the body. It only remains for God to decide whether a miracle is deserving here.
You know, it seems that Jean-Paul considers himself as powerful as God. But all miracles aside, Reverend, I'm not sure I really understand the meaning of the word soul. Although medically speaking, I'm certain that my sister is dead.
Perhaps we should dedicate ourselves to convincing your brother-in-law of that. You're a doctor. Now, you certainly should be able to show him that cryonics is too new, too uncertain, and who knows, may never work.
On the other hand, it may someday.
Saving souls. Seems we're both in the same business.
Look, I asked you whether you thought you had a choice. Whether you realize it or not, the answer is no.
About the service? Why?
Once you set foot on this island of Maljardin, you become a prisoner here.
But Mr. Desmond asked me to come, and not by force.
Yes, but you'll be detained if you try to leave.
Have you tried? And you were prevented from going?
Only Quito and Jean-Paul himself can maneuver a boat in that treacherous channel. For anyone else, it's certain death. So, we're all guests here until Jean-Paul decides otherwise.
Oh, Quito, I certainly wouldn't tussle with. But suppose we speak with Raxel.
Raxel is as loyal to her master as you are to God.
But if we can prove to her that what he is doing is wrong, certainly it's worth a try.
I have tried. But you see for yourself.
Perhaps these tarot cards will sway her. Vangie Abbott asked me to deliver them. Perhaps if I spoke to Raxel alone.
You rang, Doctor?
Reverend Dawson has a message for you. Now, if you will excuse me.
A message? From whom?
Evangeline Abbott. Are they familiar?
Paterno. It's been a long, long time. And the message?
She said that you should use them for everyone's good. Do I make myself clear?
Too clear. And yet you, a man of God, would... How much did the daughter of the conjurman tell you, sir?
Enough to let me know that only you can help all of us here.
Dark and ancient magics rear up again.
Vangie says you are surrounded by them.
There is no other way.
Then you'll do as she asked. Oh, there is one other thing. She said the third hour is best for her. Does that mean anything to you?
Everything. I, too, must know what and who it is that roams the corridors of this house, or the paths on Maljardin.
Sounds as though you're talking of ghosts.
300 years ago, that man died. But did he really?
After 300 years, I would say most assuredly yes.
The power of the great serpent made him an eternal prisoner until the master interfered.
The great serpent?
My belief, as you have yours.
And your master set free a 300-year-old man?
Well, somebody rodents here. The master found a conjure doll with a pin driven through its head. He withdrew the pin. Look, Elward Damon. It must be he who walks. It must be.
Impossible!
You believe in God. But what about his work? I trust the tarot cards. But what about the words of the woman who reads them?
I'm a messenger, not a convert.
One conjure doll, one silver pin. If that pin were still driven into that doll's head, we would all be safe.
Raxel, that is witchcraft.
Do you feel safe, Reverend?
I am sorry to keep you so long, Reverend Dawson. I had many things to say to Quito. He has been hurt.
I thought he was as impervious to pain as the Rock of Gibraltar.
No, I don't mean physically. He overheard some of our earlier conversation.
In the crypt. I didn't see him.
Well, that is his lodging place. Yes, that's where he is happiest, close to my ancestors and his beliefs. Now look, about tomorrow. Ashes to ashes, etc. Have you prepared your text for the service?
No. Well, that is the least of it. I'm not even sure whether or not I can conduct the service.
Still undecided. Now look, how can I persuade you?
I'm undecided about you too, Mr. Desmond. I have heard some very strange things.
In due time, Reverend, things will adjust themselves. Now look, I am not accustomed to being questioned. Ordinarily, I ask and others do.
And what you are asking me to do is to pay lip service to a sacrilege.
We both believe in immortality. You in the soul, I in the body. Erica's sister wants this service. Out of consideration for Allison's feelings, I agreed. Now, you will do it my way or there will be no service at all. Quito, secure the boats. There will be no further trips to the main island, and no trips even for mail, until a matter between the Reverend and his conscience is resolved. Now, I will be in my room until you are ready.
What kind of a man are you?
A man who is in love, Reverend. You've met them before. You know love, of course. You, a minister, are permitted, are you not?
After marriage, certainly.
Erica and I are man and wife. We took the marriage vows. Now, I want to share with her my life. That is part of the marriage vow.
Unto death do us part. That is also in the ceremony.
Events have been rewritten, and events have rewritten the pages of history. Such events are promulgated by circumstances and by people. We are now facing an unusual event.
And a very strange man.
And you, are a very stubborn one.
But a determined one, Mr. Desmond.
No more determined than I, Reverend.
Hear me. I know the dangers. If you are afraid, go stand within the protection of the pentagram. In the name of Taro, I bid you follow the true path and read with me, Conjure Man, before we are all doomed.